Greetings, everybody. It is so great to have you in my little community that I have built through my followers on Instagram. And so I just wanted to open up my heart to you guys today to share some things that many of you ask me about all the time. I mean, my inbox, my Instagram inbox DM probably daily has questions that I'm going to cover today. So I just felt like it was important to make a video about. So I hope it's helpful for you, and I hope it's not too much because I am going to be really honest with you guys. So what I'm going to be talking about today is my struggle with postpartum anxiety and depression and how I have walked through it. And hopefully in the midst of me sharing this, it can help you. So again, my story is so that you can kind of reflect on your own story and ask yourself, am I struggling with something similar? So I'm going to try to make this quick, but it might be a little bit long. And I feel like if you really want to know, then it's okay. So anyways, my daughter Grace was born in 2017. And whenever she was born, we decided very quickly that we were getting ready to move. We didn't need to live in the area that we lived anymore because I was working from home. We wanted to raise our family closer to our loved ones. So after nearly a decade, we packed up our life, we put our home on the market, and we decided we were going to move. Moving with a 2-month-old is actually super challenging. It was something that, looking back, I don't know that I probably should have done it because the transition, the chaos of moving, putting our home into storage. Our home that we bought wasn't going to be ready for us until Christmas, and it was only July. So we lived with family, and my whole world was just like, it was like somebody took the world and went like this and just shook it up and made everything, chaos. It was hard. It was hard to adjust to a new baby. We had struggled with infertility for several years prior to having Grace. So it was just like the perfect shitstorm. And what happened was, I walked through it, I dealt with it, but I was afraid of it, right? So I was starting to have signs of postpartum anxiety and depression that fall. So I had Grace in May. Probably by November was when I think that people were starting to see the signs. But the really, really scary part was I wasn't seeing the signs, right? I had every telltale sign of depression, but I didn't see it. Like, I was distancing myself. My appetite had changed. My focus had changed. I couldn't focus at all. I couldn't get anything done. My desire to do tasks that I used to do was going away. Like, I just was, I was becoming small, right? Because anxiety and depression does that to you. It makes you feel small. I was becoming small, but I didn't see it. And that was what was kind of scary about all of it until I started to come to the realization that maybe I was struggling. And I went to, the first thing I did was I had a very honest conversation with my husband. It was like a come to Jesus moment where we shared about all the things that I had been feeling. And it wasn't for me, and I say this openly because it's a very serious thing. I wasn't to the point that it was like a suicidal kind of thing. It was just, I don't think I'm 100% how I was before. So I will be open with you and say, no, I have not struggled with thoughts of suicide. I have not attempted suicide. Those are not things that I have struggled with. And I think that there are other cases of postpartum depression and anxiety where, yes, that is something that you may be considering. And again, I think that that's a different level of help than what I was dealing with. So I do need to be upfront with you guys that I was not dealing with that. I was just dealing with, I would say mild anxiety, mild depression. But anyway, so I shared with my husband. I talked to him. I said, I think I probably need to go see a doctor. So I called my OB. You can see your OB or you can see a primary care doctor. I had just moved, so my OB that delivered my daughter was not in the area. So I just went and saw a random PCP, and I will tell you the truth. I went and she wrote me a prescription for Zoloft and for Ativan for the anxiety, and I didn't like her answer, right? I didn't want to be medicated. I was certainly afraid of it. And so I ran from it. I took her scripts. I put them in my purse. I said, thank you so much. I'll be back. And I had no intentions of ever coming back. I was angry and I was like, there is no way I'm taking this medicine because I don't need this. And being a health coach, I see a lot of clients who are taking medication for anxiety and depression. And for some reason, I had a stigma that I wasn't going to be one of those people. So I put those scripts in my purse. I left left her office and I was like, I'm going to out eat this, I'm going to out exercise this, and I'm going to just beat this on my own. And so I did that. I leaned into self-care. I did yoga. I used oils. I took every vitamin and supplement under the sun. Like, I tried my hardest to beat anxiety and depression. I think it's important that you realize that I have an autoimmune condition. I have Hashimoto's disease, and because of that, depression and anxiety are often their best friends, right? People who have this, a lot of us have that. So unfortunately, I was battling against a ton of situational change, postpartum hormones, Hashimoto's disease. All of it was coupled together, and it was the perfect storm. And so by that winter, probably by January, I started to still have the symptoms, right? And I was still unmedicated because I wasn't going down that road, or so I thought. But then what started to happen was I found myself getting into a actual true state of depression. The laundry wasn't getting done. Putting it away was too hard. The thought of getting up for the day and getting ready was nearly impossible. Everything felt challenging, and I was very unproductive. And my husband actually he came home from work one day and he's like, "Babe, I'm kind of like worried about you." And so that was really like a turning point. But then right after that, I got pregnant. And it was unexpected. We were not planning on having our third at the time. And so it was kind of like, oh, Grace was only 9 months old. I was still breastfeeding. Everything was just like, oh, really, like it was overwhelming. But I, kind of came to terms with the fact that we were going to have our third and started to get excited about the pregnancy. At 12 weeks, I miscarried, and the miscarriage was very traumatic. I say that because I had had a miscarriage before, but I had a D&C. This time around, I was scheduled to have the D&C, and that I was miscarrying over the weekend. They scheduled me for a D&C that Monday morning, and sadly, 20 minutes before I was supposed to go back for my procedure, I actually passed the baby in the hospital bathroom. Totally TMI. I realize I'm sharing very graphic details with you, so I'm sorry if that's too much for some of you to handle, but that was actually a trauma to me because I actually had to see the baby that I passed, and it became something that I now had to carry. And so that recent loss coupled with the depression and anxiety I was already dealing with was the perfect storm. And I knew, I came home from the hospital that week, and I remember getting a phone call from our insurance company checking in on me, just saying, we saw you were treated for this. How are you doing? Thinking about you. Can we send you anything? And it was a very important phone call, and it was the changing point that I took action for my own mental health. I finally just had enough, and I caved, and I told the lady on the phone, I'm struggling with XYZ, and I shared all the things, and she was amazing. She helped put me in touch with the right resources for women who are struggling with postpartum anxiety and depression, and she helped me connect myself with my own counselor. Her name is Hope, and she has been the person who pieced me back together little by little. So she helped me. I went and saw her probably a few weeks after that miscarriage, and she helped me walk through the trauma and the loss that comes along with miscarriage. And she also helped me to work through strategies so that I could cope with my anxiety and my depression without medication. She was wonderful. I saw her for that whole time while I was dealing with that. And then that August, I got pregnant with what would become my daughter, Sadie. So I struggled with that pregnancy, if I'm being honest with you, because I was afraid. I was so afraid that I was going to lose Sadie and that I was going to have my heart broken all over again. And so part of me had a hard time attaching to her or the thought of her being real. And so Hope helped me to get through that pregnancy. And I saw her the whole time. And we just walked through the different challenges that come along with a pregnancy after a loss. So again, I was able to navigate through all this without medication, and I was really happy about that, and I was proud of that, but I couldn't have done it if it weren't for the therapy component. So for those of you who are not seeing a counselor, not taking medication, I don't think I could have done all that without the help of a therapist. So she helped me. And then whenever Sadie came, we were prepared, right? We had a very open conversation about what would this look like if I were struggling with postpartum depression this time around, because I was very much afraid of it. And she was like, don't be afraid. We have all the tools. You can get through this. And she made me feel more confident that if I wasn't feeling good, there were other answers. And so I really rocked postpartum. The first 6 weeks, I didn't feel any signs of postpartum depression. Life was going okay. But then by week 7, my world just kind of got rocked a little bit. My brother has been battling cancer, a very aggressive form of cancer. So I've been dealing with um, the fact that I have a loved one that's very sick. And then my daughter was diagnosed with a disability. She has hip dysplasia. And so it was like that, coupled with postpartum hormones, coupled with my thyroid ready to roll, like postpartum, it's crazy. And all of a sudden I was like, I don't think I'm okay. Oh my gosh, what do I do? And so I went and saw her, and we talked about how medication isn't always a bad thing. And it's sometimes good depending on the situation that you're walking through. And so, with a little bit of prayer and thoughtfulness and a visit to my PCP, I made the decision that I actually did want to go on an antidepressant to help with my anxiety and depression so that I could beat postpartum and not be a mom who was struggling, and instead be a mom who was thriving and enjoying the blessings that God had given her. So I take I started with 25 micrograms, and then after my husband's brother passed away, it was that coupled with my brother's loss, or not loss, but his cancer, my brother-in-law's loss, and my daughter's disability. All of it was like, I maybe need a little bit more. So I did go up to 50, and I will tell you that I feel really great on that dose. I'm not sure how long I'll stay on it. My plans are, hopefully when the time feels right, I'll make that decision and I'll wean off of it. It's not something you can just stop taking. But I just know how important it is. And I know what I look like as a mom not on it. And I know what I look like as a mom on it. And I'm a better mom right now when I'm on it. So for those of you who are like, I just don't feel good, there are answers, right? There is help out there. Counseling is the best place to start. Like, don't feel like you just have to jump and medicate yourself. Like, 100% go to counseling first. Try to walk through it. Use the strategies that they can teach you. It may not be enough, right? And that's okay too. And you'll be feeling better in no time if you just give yourself a chance. And you kind of just talk openly about the fact that it is a struggle. It's a struggle that you're not alone in. I have crossed paths with so many other women who are walking through postpartum anxiety and depression, and just knowing that it's really pretty common sometimes makes you just feel not better, but just more normal, more like everybody else. Because I think it's easy to just, want to be small and think this, I'm the only one who feels this way. You're not. It's really common. And the more we can open up about our own experiences about it, I think the more other women will have the courage to get help, because so many are suffering in silence. So anyways, again, as I said earlier in this video, if you are struggling with thoughts of suicide, you need to reach out and get help right away. There are hotlines you can call at all times, and just know that people care about you and they care about your life, and your little ones need you here in it. So if you're watching this and that's something that you're thinking about, I beg you, I urge you, get help immediately, and please do it. Okay. For those of you who are struggling with milder forms, again, don't suffer. Do something about it. Take action. Own your world. So anyways, thank you for always being so supportive, for all the DMs on Instagram that you guys send me, for always cheering me on and just being a part of my community. I love you guys, and I love being able to share my journey and my message with all of you.